Well, what a miserable day. And I've got to get the lights going on the trailer before I go anywhere. Well, there you are. That's a great start. No lights, and they've all been done, apparently. Well, it's a bit lighter now. There's the awning. That's the rock awning that we put up yesterday. That's the Rhino 50X. There we are. Rock awnings. Fantastic bit of kit. But we haven't got on site this morning. It's going to be a wet one today. That's how it goes. But it's great when you can rely on your staff. It's nice to have reliable staff. Andy's been working with me for over 22 years now, and he's left a couple of times and come back because he basically knows what's good for him. Well, there we are. We couldn't get the lorry down there, though we've cut back a fair amount, and we can't expect drivers to go in places where it's difficult. But we're just going to transfer the bags down now by the trailer rather than wheelbarrowing it from here. Yeah, it's me, it's Johnny Boy, and we've had fun and games then, didn't we, Andy? Okay. Andrew, you must not leave that tool on there, because that's what happens sometimes. We leave things on skip when we're talking like this, and then they get taken away, and it costs a lot of money. And we had a bit of a fun and games then, didn't we, getting it in? Yep. There is a good space there again. It was just the overall hanging trees. The driver from Houston did attempt, but we can't allow him to damage his truck. But now we're having a cup of tea. And I want you guys just to savour this moment, because I know some landscapers out there, some DIYers, and there's nothing like a cup of tea, is there? No. No, it's really refreshing. Gives you time for thought and process and think about what you're going to do. Let's get on with it, come on! Hey up. Well, there you go. I've made a mess, and somebody's going to tell me that I should put boards down, but we never had boards with us, and they're expensive. I don't know, I should have put boards down maybe, but it's been raining, and I've had to go in and out with the machine, so hey-ho, there you go. Well, this is the PQC we've put down now, and this is a lean mix, or a dry lean, as they say. So we've tracked over this as well, and with a machine. And now we've lathered off, and now we're going to give it a whacker and hopefully get it down to our correct height. And if it's not the correct height, after giving it a whacker, we will make sure that it's at the right height then after. Well, that's the first stage. We've tracked it in with the machine, and I've compacted it. Now I have to get some levels on there now and get it spot on. Well, here we are. This is a PQC, a paving quality concrete. So basically, that forms a rigid paving system. And simply, the reason that we used it in this particular area was because that round this particular cul-de-sac and this development, there are a number of streams, and they do sometimes move around. So we have to make sure that the paving system isn't going to be compromised at any point. So the reason I use PQCs is because it's a rigid paving system, and it basically forms a beam if the sub base or the ground underneath the substrate is compromised at any point. So it's so important to maintain the integrity of the foundation for this proposed paved area, and that's just so very, very important. You can deal with things aesthetically, but when the foundation and bases go, it's not always a good thing. So it's always important to install a PQC in situations like we have here. Okay, we've got a little bit further to go, but we know we're heading in the right direction. So years ago, and many years ago, when we would do those driveways before the tarmackers would come in, we'd dig out loads, we'd dig out plenty. We'd put a sub base in, and sometimes we'd put a membrane depending what the spec was. And then what we would do, we would put a PQC, severely compact the Type 1, then a PQC, then we would spray that PQC, and then the tarmackers, and I've done it myself in the past, then we put the base coat in, but we would put a tar on top of the PQC to ensure that the base coat adheres to that PQC, and that's what you do. It's about fining the levels off at different stages. Remember to put your seatbelt on, clink every trip. So important. Belt and braces. We've done a PQC today. Well, I've actually done it. Andrew just is tired. His eyes are so tired now from watching me all day. And that's it. That's the end of the day. If you've got any questions or you can give you any advice, just please be nice. Just say it in the bottom without any swearing or anything. And remember, if you've just found the channel, subscribe. It's Johnny Boy, the happy landscaper.